Well, hello there. How is everyone? I hope you're all well. You amazing, beautiful, wonderful people. It's Thursday. I know it's Thursday. I know I'm right today. So give me a little bit of a round of applause for knowing what day it is. I'm 99% sure. Yes, Thursday. Anyway, you're looking absolutely amazing on this terrific Thursday. Does terrific and Thursday go together? We'll let it go. We'll let it go. But anyway, what are we talking about? We're talking about something this morning because I just wanted to bring people's attention to it who may not have seen it the first time round. Because the more I think about it, the more I read about it, the more I wait to hear more about it, the more I can't help feeling that there is a relevance between what happened in this incident and what happened in the Idaho 4 case. Now, what do we know about the Idaho 4 case? We know that apparently there was a witness who saw someone dressed in black, wearing a mask and quite athletic in their build, with bushy eyebrows. Now, we can consider whether that was accurate. We can consider whether that person was indeed a witness at all, or maybe they were just leveraged upon by law enforcement who needed to make a story fit, and perhaps this person was just using what they already knew existed as, you know, when people they want to make up a story and they pull from things that bear some truths. There's some facts in there that helps them to build this story. I saw someone, they were wearing a mask, and the mask bit may be the important bit. But anyway, what are we talking about? We're talking about Timmy Reed. Little Timmy who was attacked on the 10th of February. Now, little Timmy was in his house with friends just off of campus, so very similar to like the 1122 King Road situation. They have a house just off campus, a few of them live together, and they were having a party. And what happened was, a few weeks prior, there was an altercation, there was a scuffle between Timmy and a footballer. And then what would happen on the night of the party would be that a group of these frats would turn up at the house where the party was being held, and they would not leave when requested to leave. But they turned up with broken pipes and, you know, basically brandishing weapons and wearing masks. And they would turn up wearing masks, brandishing weapons, and that would result in little Timmy being kicked the shit out of. And we did a FOIA request to try and get some information on this, but that request was denied, because at the end of the day, it is still an ongoing investigation, it would seem. But for those of you who didn't see it the first time round, let's just have a very quick look. Let me just scan through onto here and jump over to this page. And we're going to have a look, because did you know as well that this event here cost the university around $35,000? So yeah, you'll find out why in a second. So attorney of University of Idaho senior beaten up in February urges action. Again, this isn't a new thing. I'm just bringing this to the forefront, and I want to touch on something at the end. So Moscow, University of Idaho civil engineering student Timmy Reed was beaten back in February by a group of 40 to 50 people wearing ski masks and wielding PVC pipes, some of whom were apparent football players, his attorney Tim Gresbach said on Wednesday. Reed sustained a black eye, a fractured nose, and a concussion from being knocked unconscious after his head hit the asphalt. This young man was so addled with fear, he slept with a knife under his pillow, Gresbach said. So let's just bring that into focus a little bit. So this was a person who was attacked. Now, I've been over Timmy Reed's social media, and there's some comments from around this that basically said this has been happening for a long time. This is nothing new. This is absolutely nothing new, by the way. So we know that there is seemingly a history of these frat brothers, the footballers, who would be attacking people, going to people's homes in groups and attacking them. Okay, that's important to understand, that there seems to be a history of this. This isn't nothing new. This is not something out of the ordinary. This is something that just simply happens. But the funny thing is, you can't find anything about it. There's nothing about it anywhere. You can't find any of these historic cases that are in the news, that are reported upon. And the only reason that this one has actually been brought to the forefront of the media attention is because Timmy has had to get himself legal counsel, because they feared that the University of Moscow police were just sweeping the fucker under the rug. So they have decided to take action themselves, so that this doesn't continue in the future being something that is seemingly just become an acceptable part of the University of Idaho's culture. So they have decided to make a stand. And make it stop. But I said I would show you where this is even something that is costing them money. So here we go. The West Treasure Valley chapter of the Vandal Scholarship Fund voted 17-1 favour of cancelling the 4th annual Vandal Summerfest event scheduled for June the 6th, eliminating an estimated $35,000 in donation. According to an email sent by the chapter's president, Marge Chipman, a February 10th incident where reportedly 40 to 45 football players, some wearing ski masks and carrying broken PVC pipes, was the direct cause of the decision to cancel the event. So, again, this just seems to be something. This is just part of the culture of this university. But when you go back over these and try and locate where this has happened before and people have been attacked, you just can't find it, which proves that this is also something that is being covered up. It is being covered up, unless I'm wrong, and there are reports of it and I just can't find them. But it certainly is a culture thing. So when you factor that into the Idaho 4 case and what we know about the Idaho 4 situation, I cannot help but feel that what happened the night of, the Idaho 4 tragedy could potentially be something to do with the frat situation and the fight. Let's not forget that this whole thing that happened with Timmy was seemingly retaliation over a fight that had happened, or a scuffle that had happened between Timmy and one of the footballers. So let's just bring that into perspective. So just over a scuffle, you would find that 40 to 50 people would go to this young man's house and result in him being beaten badly. And then subsequently, it would lead to him having to obtain legal counsel privately in order to get the situation handled and dealt with, because by their own statement, this was getting brushed under the rug. I think I'm paraphrasing, but the broom was incredibly loud. They could hear it being brushed under the rug. So when you factor in the things around the Idaho 4 case that we've heard and what we know that Brian Kohberger is indeed the accused, and Brian Kohberger could have certainly done it. He could have done it, or he could have been involved in something that was potentially retaliation, perhaps. Who knows? But we talk about means, motive, and opportunity, and with Brian Kohberger, the means are certainly there. The motive is completely missing, and the opportunity is an odd one, because yes, anybody could potentially have an opportunity to do something, but was this specific night, when you factor in this was a football match night, real busy in the area, lots of cars outside that property that were alien to that property. Well, I say lots of them. There was lots of vehicles out there, and at least one of them that was alien. But from outside, you could potentially believe that there was a lot more people in that property than what there would normally be. Would that be fair to assume? So someone's either going in that property with absolute fucking balls of steel, or they're that much enraged that they don't really contemplate the things that they could potentially face when they walk into that property. Which, does that fit the Brian Kohberger scenario? Does an enraged and off the bat situation where he snaps? To me, it doesn't really work that way, unless he was there originally, which it doesn't seem he was. It seems that they're trying to say that he drove over. Well, that's not someone who fucking snaps, is it? Because if you snap and do something, then really that would say that you're there. You're at ground zero, something happens and you snap. And do you know what I mean? Not something happens, I don't know, and then a few days and then you drive over. That is more of a retaliation situation. So again, with motive being a missing factor in Brian Kohberger's story, but I just don't know. The fraternity situation, when you see that there is a culture of arguments, fights, scuffles, retaliations, and people getting together in gangs and actually physically going to people's homes and attacking people, and then seemingly people being that scared that they are sleeping with knives. Do you know what I mean? It's a really, really odd situation, and something that I struggle to completely disconnect from the Idaho 4 theory. And I feel that when there is a culture of this sort of thing, and there has been these attacks in the past that are seemingly not being dealt with, and seemingly after the Idaho 4 case, they're continuing to happen, it makes you wonder, is this even further giving a real strong reason for the University of Idaho to hide things like this? The University of Idaho grabbed this by the balls. They grabbed it by the balls and they leapt in and took control of everything. Well, let's put it this way. If you are at the helm of an organization that you know have issues, that they do go to people's homes, and there are altercations, people are being attacked, and people are scared, and people are having to sleep with knives and stuff like that, and then you hear that there is an attack at a property, again, off campus, and students are brutally slayed, that, I believe, was their intention. Their intention was to get ahead of it in case it fell back in their laps. Tell me I'm wrong. Which further would indicate that the University of Idaho and their actions in terms of getting hold of the property and demolishing the property and then removing it from the area and burying it was almost indicative of the university knowing full well that this could fall back on their lap, and they wanted to get rid of that house just in case that happened. Again, tell me I'm wrong. And again, look, Brian Kohberger could be the man. I don't think he's the man, because I personally haven't seen enough to convict a guy and send him to death based on what I've seen. But when I take every single piece of information into perspective that I have seen, and I consider everything, I still consider that the fraternity fight and what happened between Xana Ethan and the likes of David Lopes that night had a real potential to escalate into something a lot more deadly. And I believe that the university also considered that. And I even believe that Moscow Police Department also considered that, hence why they stated early on that this was an isolated incident and targeted. And I also believe that is potentially why Steve Gonsalves, at the beginning of this case, stated that the people who did this did not have to go upstairs, because he knew that this fight had taken place, and he also potentially knew of the culture of the University of Idaho and what had happened in the past, and believed that this stemmed from that fight at the frat house that night. Now, this is why it is incredibly important for Brian Kohberger to be proven to have done this beyond a reasonable doubt. Not just a conviction just purely using the evidence that we've seen, which is not solid proof of anything. It can all be argued. It is just speculative evidence that it could be his car, and trying to put so many things together that would lead to that real kind of grey information just seemingly being stronger because of we've got this element, this element, this element, and this element to it. And they say how complex and complicated this is. This case shouldn't be that fucking complicated. He either did it and you can prove it, or you think he did it and it's going to be difficult for you to prove it, but you think you can. And a large proportion of that will be based upon whether you can retain that case in Latah County, because you know there will be community bias. Hence why Bill Thompson is so fucking angry at the thought of losing this elsewhere. And again, the way that they have tried to push and been seemingly so fixated on this alibi situation, and now Bill Thompson is jumping on it like a fucking dog with a bone again and trying to block Cy Ray coming forward with any further information. Something just don't sit right here. To me, something don't sit right, and I just want the right person or people to be caught, and I want them to be prosecuted, and I want them to face the punishment that they deserve. If Brian Koberger is the man, so be it. But I want it to be proven. I want it to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. I don't want it to be proven by a bunch of things that are not straightforward. You can convince people if they lean a certain way, and it leads to this conviction based on what we've seen in the PCA, which again is spurious at best. But anyway, let me know what you think down below. Again, this was just about bringing attention to what is going on. I'm keeping an eye on this. We will see where it goes, see what happens with it. But FOIA request denied, and yeah, an ongoing investigation has so far cost the college $35,000, and admittance that this is a culture thing. It's been happening for a long period of time. But anyway, we're in court later today. Join me. Keep your eyes peeled. I think it's like 10 a.m. local time to Latah County, which is around 5 p.m. here in the UK. Be there. Let's see what happens.